My guest today is a former professional athlete and trailblazer. In 2003, after being turned down by numerous NASCAR teams, he got the opportunity to try out for Ultra Motorsports as a jackman on their pit crew. He won the position, but little did he know he had just become the first full-time pit crew member in the history of NASCAR. In 2005, he made professional sports history again by becoming the first African American in history to win a NASCAR championship. After leaving NASCAR in 2007, my guest founded William Wilson Clothing, a custom clothing firm specializing in the needs of business owners, athletes, and professional athletes. Within 18 months, he was designing award-winning suits for the Grammy Awards. Since then, he has become the personal tailor for such celebrities as D.L. Hughley, Oscar De La Hoya, Nephew Tommy, Eddie Griffin, and hundreds of others. He has been named Charlotte's Best Clothier 8 times, Best Men's Store 4 times, Best Men's Suit 5 times, and received the acclaimed Blitz Marketing Fashion Icon Award. In 2018, he once again made history by being inducted in the North Carolina Military Veterans Hall of Fame. He is also an active philanthropist, a staunch advocate against domestic violence. In February 2020, he announced the William Wilson Domestic Violence Scholarship to fund education for domestic violence survivors and children of survivors. Please help me welcome my special guest, William Wilson.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. It's always weird hearing people like introduce you and stuff, read stuff. I just feel so like it's just that awkward feeling. It's like you're just sitting there like it's
I
like
mean,
this weird feeling.
this is all you. That's all you.
I know, but you know how it is, man. It's just like you go somewhere and somebody compliments you like in front of a bunch of people. You're like, thanks. Like you appreciate it. It just always feels
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah, I can totally get that, but that was an impressive bio resume that I read there. So you're doing a lot of great things.
I'm trying. We're trying to make the best. We don't know how many days we have, so I try to make the best of the ones that we get.
Amen to that. So I'm so glad you had time to join me today. I want to talk a little bit about your story and all the wonderful, great things that you're doing. Would you mind starting off telling my listeners and viewers a little bit about your story, your journey, and how it has gotten you to where you are today?
Um, well, I'm a country boy from Arkansas, a little small town in Arkansas. There were 41 people in my graduating class in high school, and I didn't go to a private school.
Wow.
Yeah, I learned how to drive. I'd driven a tractor and a combine before I learned how to drive a car. So that's just how
So you country.
real country, like country. Just for whatever reason, I never had the accent.
Hmm.
Like like inside, I should sound like this when I talk to you. But for whatever reason, like even at home growing up, I never sounded like that. I don't know, just I watch so much television, so I just you hear
Yeah.
television, you really don't hear you either hear no accent or it's more of a city type accent.
Unless it's a particular type of show that's
Yeah,
going to, yeah.
exactly. Dukes of Hazzard or something like that. You typically don't really hear that deep Southern accent. But when I graduated high school, I went to boot camp 6 days after I got out of the Navy. Like I literally graduated high school. So I literally graduated high school, and 6 days later, I was at boot camp. And when the Navy came out, did some different things. So I figured my way around and really started a construction company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked for a construction company, worked in construction altogether probably five, about 8 years.
Okay. What were you building? Were you commercial properties, homes, residential?
I was a residential framer.
Okay.
When I first got to it, I worked for a company called John Wheelan Homes doing semi-custom and custom homes, the full building process. Then I left there and worked for a framing company. And then I left there, started my own framing company because there was a lot of stuff going on at that framing company that I didn't need to be a part of. And you can just see it was on its way down.
Hmm.
So I started my own framing company, had my own crews. I actually I started my company with a full book of business because when I went to work for that framing company that I was working with, I set up a lot of business for them, but my boss never actually went and met with the clients. So they had never seen him. They'd never met him, never talked to him, anything. So when I got ready to leave, start my own business, and since he never actually even talked to my framers either, they all came with me because I was the only person they knew.
Right.
And the builders were like, "Hey, your boss, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with your boss. They haven't even so he hasn't done so much as ask us to go to lunch with him. So if we know we're gonna get you and the same guys, send us a W-9. We change the name on the check. We just keep moving like nothing ever happened." So I literally walked into that company with a full book of business that I'd already built while I was getting paid to run their business. So I did that for a while, but my education, I have an undergrad in business management and a master's in economics.
Okay.
So numbers and stuff make sense to me. And I started doing the math. And this, around 2006, I started thinking, you know, you can only give so many people making $40,000 a year, $250,000 loan mortgages without any proof of funding or anything. For eventually, something's got to come due, and that's when they had all those adjustable rate mortgages,
Yeah.
where you went from having a $800 mortgage to a $2,500 mortgage overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and if you're doing this to everybody at one time, that bubble's going to burst for everybody at one time,
Yeah.
and the economy can't take it. So I started doing the math. I said, you know what? I need to plan for something, that next venture. And I actually never had a desire to design clothes in my life. I never had a desire to work in fashion. The only clothing I have ever sold in my life have had my name on it. So I never worked in retail. I never taken it to this day. I've never taken a design class. Not one. I can't tell you hot colors from cold colors. I really cannot. But I don't even care to know. Like at this point, I don't even really need to.
Sure.
Education never hurts, but I don't really necessarily need to at this point.
Right. You forecasted, that there was going to be trouble with the
Mhm.
housing industry. And I know, like, before that, though, before your clothing line, you had spent some time in NASCAR. Talk a little bit about that, because that is a very interesting place for, a person of color to be, and especially with what is going on right now with NASCAR, and we're starting to see, with Bubba Wallace and the things that he's having to deal with. This is what 10, maybe what I would say about 15, 16 years
15 years ago.
15 years ago when you were
Mhm.
in NASCAR. Talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like.
Well, actually, I did that while I was running my construction company. That
Okay.
actually was at the same time. I worked 7 days a week for 38 straight weeks, 6 years in a row. Because I would work basically Monday through Wednesday or Thursday with the construction stuff. Then had to fly to the track. It would be at the track all weekend. Then
Hmm.
I'd fly in Sunday night or Monday morning, and have to go right to work. So it really, but you do what you have to do to get there. But when I worked with John Wheelan, I went to a race. It was actually qualifying for one of the NASCAR races in Charlotte. And I went with my coworkers. I'd never been to one before. I'd seen it on television. I'd never gone. So I went. I'm like, man, this is really cool. I'm like, I want to do this. And a guy named Steve Allen looked at me and said, William, look around. And the only people I saw that looked like me had event staff on their shirt.
Hmm.
Like literally, there was nobody else. But I'm a country boy from Arkansas. If you don't, sometimes the best thing you can know is nothing.
Mm.
Because I had no idea, like, that I wasn't supposed to do all this stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? I had no idea.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned in the Navy, if you got the opportunity, the training, and put the work in, you can do pretty much anything.
Hmm.
So I went home. I developed a drive. Cause I wanted to be a driver at first, and I developed a driver training program. It took me about a week to put it together. That's what all the shops are here in Charlotte. Like literally every shop in NASCAR is in Charlotte,
Yeah.
Mooresville, or Concord.
Right.
So I just drove around and just was knocking on all the doors trying to get a meeting. Like literally, they're all like, the few people who actually take the time to talk to me were like, you too old to try to get in NASCAR to be a driver. Because those kids start driving literally at 5 or 6 years old in go-karts.
So is this really like a Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby story?
Well, Ricky
Is that how
Bobby
they get
had
started out?
uh, uh, No, because he ended up being a driver. Now here's a funny connection I
That's
had
what I
with.
mean. That's what I mean. That's when you were saying that the drivers normally start out that young,
Yeah.
meaning like how Ricky Bobby started out that young driving his dad's car.
Mhm. Oh yeah, a little different driving, but for some of those back in the day, maybe so. Now here's the funny Ricky Bobby connection that I have. A story with Talladega Nights connection I have. The house that Ricky Bobby lived in the movie,
Yeah.
we framed that house.
Wow.
Yeah, I framed the house. That house is on Connor Key in the Peninsula. It's right across the street from Reggie White and Anthony Pleasant's
Okay.
houses. And Anthony won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and we all know who
Mm-hmm.
Reggie White is. That
Mm-hmm.
house is directly across the street. So it's funny when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I built that
I
house.
know that house.
Yeah. The people that own it actually work, well, I don't know who owns it now, it's been a long time, but the people who
Yeah.
built it actually were executives with Bank of America.
Okay. Okay. So
Very
your
nice.
time, very nice. So your time in NASCAR. I mean, what were some of the things that you learned in working in that industry?
Well, I learned that, and there's a few things I learned, but one, like once you're on pit road, like a lot of the stuff that people had to deal with, like it was obviously Bill Lester because he was actually a driver. I would see him sometimes. He had to deal with his world was totally different than mine
Mm-hmm.
because for me, like if you're on pit road, people know you belong there because our world is measured in tenths of a second. You see guys get fired middle of a race.
Wow.
Like literally, ain't none of this like in football where they probably gonna cut him tomorrow. No, they cut you right then after a pit
Get
stop.
out.
Yeah, like you done and you're done. Like if you're good enough, you may end up on another team.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not this. Hey, when this race is over, nah, you done. Like bad stop, they put somebody else in. If you're a big enough team to have a backup. But I just learned that one, if you can do the job, that's all that really matters for a lot of people. Even if people may not necessarily like you or hate you or understand you or know anything about you, once you get there and that brotherhood is there, pretty much like on athletics. Like I know you ran track, right?
Mm-hmm. I did.
South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You guys all came from a different place, but you had one goal in mind was to win that track meet. So with
Right.
us, we had two goals in mind: win each pit stop and win the race. Now we had no control over what the drivers did on the track, but our races, we raced 5, 6, 7 times within the race because that's how many pit stops we'd have.
Mm-hmm.
So if we came in second, we want to come out first. If we came in third, come out fourth. If we came in first, we want to stay first.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things we're doing. We race against the clock. We want to change 4 tires and 22 gallons of fuel in 12 and a half seconds. We
That
don't
is
do,
that is just still so unbelievable to me. That I mean, it's just so what. So what is the time? So what is like the fastest time that you worked on with the car that came into a pit stop and got what? And forgive me, I'm very naive when it comes to NASCAR. So are you changing all four tires at one time, or are you just changing a tire that one tire that blew? So what's the fastest time that a car can come in, bam, and get out?
the fastest we've done was 11 minutes and 11.9 seconds.
Wow,
Fastest we've done.
it's crazy.
But that was just one of those. Everything worked, everything, and we had nitrogen. We had nitrogen in the tanks when I was in there. I think they use something different now or
Yeah.
different compressed air. So our guns would spin fast. It was like boom, 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 boom. But we changed all 4 tires. We don't change them at the same time. We change one side and then we change the other.
Okay.
So when the car is coming down the track, coming down pit road, we basically me as the jack man and the front tire carrier, the front tire changer, we run in front of the car, so we're on the other side of the car when it stops. The guys that work on the rear tire, they run around the back after the car stops.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they start hitting the lugs. I jack the car up, and I'm listening for 10 lugs.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
just
you're
listening
okay.
for 10 lugs. And when I hear those and I see the hands go up, I drop the jack and I run around the other side and I boom. Like I'm only focused on me.
Yes.
I never look at them. I don't look at anything else. In fact, the entire world just turns totally gray to me. It's gray. You have to see like those movies where you see like somebody's having like a flashback and everything's in slow motion and
Sure.
it sounds like that really weird, airy kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's like to me.
So I imagine you guys have to have impeccable communication.
But we don't talk at all.
So
During the pitch stop, we
therefore,
didn't talk at all. You all have one job. You got, like I said, you got one job, but you just focus on that. So everybody comes through, they do their deal. Like the front tire carrier, he's just a carrier. He's just there, put the tires on, take them off. The changer, he's hitting the lug, make sure his lugs get hit. Me as the jack man, I make sure my jack is set, car is up, I drop it, come around, the other side, drop it, coming up. And the driver is depending on us doing this because we never, like I said, we don't communicate. Once we, last thing we hear is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because our crew chief is counting off how many pit boxes till he gets to our particular pit box. He's counting us down so we know when to jump and start doing what we do. And we don't talk again until it's done. But in the driver, as soon as I drop the jack, he takes off. So if I drop the jack before the lugs are on, we're in trouble. So I have to make sure I hear those 10
so
lugs.
it's nonverbal. Well, some of it's nonverbal communication.
It's all nonverbal.
Nonverbal.
Once we take off from the pit wall, we don't talk again until after it's over. And as soon as the stop is over, we got a pretty good idea if we came in first or left first or someplace. We have a good idea because we know if we had a good stop or not. But then the very first thing we do, we immediately go behind the wall and we watch a video of our stop. We have a camera that's right over the top of the car or the truck, depending on what we're racing. And we watch the stop right there.
So after you do the pit stop, you go back and you watch it. What are you watching? What are you looking for?
Just like watching any other kind of film. What went good, what went bad.
Yeah.
If something got hung up, how it got hung up, whose fault it was. We're going to do a wedge adjustment or other things like this, extracurricular things with the stop, besides just regular tires and fuel, how that went, things we could do better, things we could do that went really well. Just all the kind of, just reviewing everything. It's just like after you finish a run, even if you won, you go back, you watch the film, okay, how can I get off the blocks better? How can I be a little bit higher in my stance? How can I push off a little better? Just trying to find those little, because for us, everything's measured at tenths of a second.
Right.
Because like a track like Talladega or Daytona, which is our two biggest tracks, a tenth of a second is 3 positions on the track. So a 12.3 second stop versus a 12.4 second stop be the difference between being in first place or being in fourth place.
That's amazing.
And you get to a hard enough track. Some tracks are really hard to pass on.
Yeah.
So if you lose spots at pit road, it's hard to make them back.
Yeah.
In some places you can only advance. You want to try to pick up as many positions you can in pit road.
So you're watching your performance right afterwards to see how you can do better. And so then you did this for how many years?
6 seasons.
6 seasons. And then you transitioned out of that into William Wilson Clothing. Now, talk to us about that transition, because you go from pit crew and NASCAR to now you are a tailor. How did that come about?
Well, like I said, I still had my construction company. So I'm doing that and the NASCAR thing. But again, I started doing the math like, okay, something's going to happen. I need to kind of make myself known in the city. Because the beautiful thing about Charlotte, even now, even though it's a pretty major city now, if you put the work in, you can make a name for yourself, good or bad, in a very small amount of time. So I said, I need to get to know who the mover, because I always wanted to be a mover and shaker. Like, you see them on TV and all this time. I never really realized that none of them looked like me or you. I saw like J.R. Ewing and, Blake Carrington.
Those are tycoons.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, they're just business people. I'm like, I want to have a big corporate office, and I want to come in and have a secretary and stay home my calls, and I want to have meetings all day. Like that's to me, I'm like that's what success looked like to me. So I'm like, I want to be a mover and shaker like that. And Charlotte was a smaller town, you can do that. So I said, you know what? I need to get to start knowing people. Because during the days of time when I'm in Charlotte, there are times I was playing 36 holes of golf 4 days a week. I checked my job site in the morning, check in the afternoon, because my guys were so good at working with their people that I didn't need to be there. So I started going to as many meetings as I could go to. If you had to wear a suit, I'm trying to be in that meeting. So I would check my job site in the morning and I would check in the afternoon. And one day, one of the homeowners stopped me and said, "Man, William, you are just so nice. Could you help me put my wardrobe together?" And had he not asked me that question, you probably have no idea who I am. Well, you may have, because I knew Terry when I had a construction company. But
Mm-hmm.
aside from
Yeah.
that, most people would have no idea who I am. So long story short, I helped him out. He liked what I did, so he started sending other people to me. And I'm like, man, so many people coming up, and I really didn't want to do it. I'm like, I want to get into fashion consulting because I don't know anything about it. So I did what we used to have, what we called a go away price,
Mm-hmm.
where if it's something you didn't want to do, you priced it so high that people would just go away. So I said, okay, I'll do it for you. It's going to cost you $200 an hour, 2 hour minimum. Guy goes, okay. Now, again, country boy from Arkansas.
Yeah.
We may not spend $200 on a suit, let alone $200 an hour to have somebody just look in your closet. 2 hour minimum, $400 just to look in my closet and then tell me about it.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm thinking this guy would just go, they would just go away. No, he's like, okay. But that's when I had to understand,
Huh.
these are people building multi-million-dollar homes. You know, the wife doesn't work. They got 3 kids in private school that they spend, 60 grand a year in. They got the, multi-million-dollar house. They got a Blake house. They spend $400 at a lunch meeting
Mm-hmm.
just to get to know somebody. My funky little $400 didn't mean nothing to them. So, but where I'm from, if you drive a brand new Honda Accord EX, you doing something. Here in Charlotte, they buy their 16-year-old daughter the BMW 5 Series as the starter car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, this the world is just different here. And there's a world I had no idea about. So like I said, I started helping them out, and I'm like, I'm telling these people what to go buy. If I could provide it for them, there may be a business in this. Now, I had no idea there are companies like Tom James and those kind of companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I was creating a whole new service category. But I had Al Wallace, Mike Minner, and Mike Rucker were all friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I got ready to start the business. I said, hey, if you can have your own perfect situation, what would it be for your clothes? So they kind of told me. So I set the business up based on what they would want, because they kind of fit my demographic, as in business people, not as an athlete. Athletes and celebrities have never been my target market, and they're not my target market now. I want just the regular, everyday Joe Schmo that wears a suit every day, because he's going to buy a suit from somebody. I just have to convince him to buy it for me. And the people he worked with going to buy suits. Now, when your ex was in the NFL, he wore suits when he had to. But one time he got on sweats because they're working out. They're working out and playing ball. They're practicing. They ain't worried about wearing suits. So, and their average career is 3.5 years. So why do I want to try to turn over my customer base every 3.5 years when I can find these two people? I get them out of college and take them to be with them all the way till they get to the corner office.
Right.
We can build a 40-year relationship. And if I pick up a few here, 10, 15 years in, you're almost on cruise control, provided you're providing the service that they want and you give them what they want.
Right.
It takes care of itself. So that's what I did. And 14 months later, I did a suit for Calvin Richardson for the Grammys. You got best dressed on the red carpet, and it just took off from there.
So, what was it about your dress that impressed the gentleman that wanted to take a look into your closet?
I just think that I always look sharp all the time. And I got that from my mother. My mother, if she's wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt, the blue jeans are creased,
She's looking good.
Neat. Yeah, she's gonna make sure. My mom didn't leave the house looking sloppy. And she had to be all dressed up, but regardless of what she had on, it was always clean, it was always pressed. She always looked presentable and looked decent.
Yes. So style has always been something that was very important to you, how you presented yourself, how you showed up. That was just something that was just, important to you.
Exactly, because it comes down to being respect. When I walk down the street, like I got on a t-shirt and shorts now. If I walk down the street in t-shirts and shorts, my hat turned on backwards, at best, I'm William. When I put on a suit and a tie and I'm walking down the street, suddenly I'm Mr. Wilson. So they treat you differently. They may not pay attention to the ring or the watches, that kind of stuff. When you dress where I am now, they may very well think it's fake. But when I got on a suit and I'm going to this meeting with these millionaires, whatever, now all of a sudden, oh, that's a nice watch. Now it's a conversations piece.
Right.
Or depending on where you are. Like I was down at the Daytona 500 and I was staying in the owner's area. Somebody talking with Richard Childress and Richard Petty, and Darius Rucker was parked right next to us. So I'm
South
here.
Carolina Gamecock.
Yeah, game. In a minute, I tell you how the first thing he said to each other before we started talking trash to each other. So, but I'm sitting there talking, and me and Richard Childress are having a conversation about watches. He's like, and Richard lives in a different world than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, he owns obviously his race team. He owns some car dealerships. He owns Richard Childress Vineyards. He's a multi millionaire. So he's like, hey, I got this one. Let me get this Tabrillion. It's only about 350,000. I'm like,
Only about. That's all.
yeah. I'm like, he said, I got this other one I bought a couple years ago for a couple $100,000, but I didn't really like it that much. So I traded and got another one. I'm just like, Richard, we talk. I understand your language. I just can't necessarily have the same conversation with you. I said, you're talking actuality. I'm talking theoreticals.
Mm-hmm.
If I get there, we have that conversation. But because I deal so much with those types of people, I'm able to have those conversations with them because that's their world. I need to be speaking their world. I may speak with one client who just graduated in college and trying to figure out his butt from a hole in the ground. My next client, I'm trying to tell him, if you want to buy a jet, don't go out and buy a Gulfstream or Embraer. Buy you a Honda jet because they're going to cost you about $6 million. You can go from Greensboro to Texas, all the way to Dallas on one fuel stop. They're lighter, but they have, because of the way they're set up, they compete with the light business jets, but they fall in the category of very light business jet. So you get better fuel economy, you got more cargo space, and it's a single pilot rated plane. So you can actually have a seventh person as a passenger, where these other planes you can't. So I'm having this whole conversation about items I can't necessarily afford, but they may think about buying. So it lets them know I speak their language, so I can build a deeper relationship with my customer versus, hey, here's this suit, here's the fabrics, this kind of thing. I can relate to them. We can go play golf together. We can talk. I can give them advice on things. No, don't go buy a guest house. Don't buy some home, a lake house, all this stuff. Now you're sitting on mortgages. Join a place like Quintessa, like a destination club, so you can have houses all over the world. You pay a one-time entry fee and your monthly dues. You can spend 5 days in a house in Aruba, then go to the Himalayas, then go to Hawaii. And if you decide you want to do it the next year, just cancel your membership. You're not trying to sell houses and all that other kind of stuff. You can do it through your business. You can write it off as your taxes. So we have those kind of conversations we can't typically have with the person who sells you clothes. So what I'm relationship.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that not only were you able to provide them, custom made suits, but you were providing more value to them as well. And through that, building a relationship with them.
Exactly. Because people want to talk to people who understand them. Either people they can learn from or that understands them. Like with you being a mom, if you're going to get your hair done, and she may be the bomb, but talk to a bomb 20-year-old with no kids still in college, you can't build that same relationship.
There's going to be a disconnect there.
Versus a mom who's built her own business, who's doing really well. You guys can connect on a whole different level, and you can build a real friendship.
Sure.
That 18 or 20-year-old, you may become their mentor. But there's other ways you build a friendship. You guys can go to lunch and have drinks together and talk about each other's problems and to be there for each other on an emotional level, not just, hey, I got my hair laid out smooth. It's different.
Yeah. And so tell me, what makes a William Wilson suit special?
It's not so much about the suit as it is the relationship and the brand itself. Like my brand is built for a particular type of person. I do men and women's clothing. So it's a particular type of person. I don't want to sell to everybody. I'm not interested. If I walk into a room full of financial planners and there's 100 of them, give me 2 or 3 and I'm good. Somebody else can sell to, one other person can sell to the other 96. I want mine to be something you want. So I've always said this, and it sounds kind of crass, but it's not meant to be. But you're either one of two things. You're either the girl everybody's sleeping with or the one they want to sleep with. Which one do you treat better? The girl everybody's sleeping with get called at last call. After he had hit on all these other pretty girls, he's like, oh well, let me hit my jump off. The night didn't work out. Let me call my whatever at 1:30, 1:45. Hey, what you doing?
We're gonna work on another example for you to use. But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But we're gonna work on one.
But the woman that everybody wants to be with, they buy roses, they buy flowers. If she texts, they text back.
Yeah.
You because they have a value.
Value.
So I want my customers to be able to look on television and see my suits on TV and be like, yo, that's me and he wear the same. See DL here, see DL got on. We got the same tailor. Or see this person here, yeah, we got the same tailor.
Yeah.
Or look at the magazine and go, oh, that's my tailor right there. Where your tailor at? I ain't seen Taylor on TV yet. Oh, he's doing this. He's doing this. My tailor's doing. Oh, my tailor's in the Hall of Fame. What's your tailor doing? My tailor got 4 rings. What's your tailor doing? So it builds a brand where it's a value to them personally.
Yes.
So you got that. You got the brand plus the relationship that comes with it. So all together comes together. We're doing friends. I'm no longer your tailor just because I sell you suits. The amount of people that will send me pictures before they get ready to go out because they put an outfit together on their couch, on their bed, take a picture, go, hey, how does this work together? Or does this tie look better or this tie? I'm like, that's what you got a wife for. But they'll call me or their wife will take a picture and text me and say, hey, what do you think of it? Does it work together? I think it looks good, but he wants to get your opinion.
Yeah.
So
you're providing an experience. Your
Mhm.
brand is a particular type of experience for your clients.
Exactly.
Nice. And so, what is it like designing for celebrities?
Depends on the celebrity, but it's really not any different than designing for anybody else, to be honest with you. Um, like DL knows exactly what he wants.
Now, does that make it easier when a person, knows exactly what they want, and then you can provide that, or do you enjoy when a person kind of comes and be like, you know what, William, I really don't know what my taste and my style is, help me out. Which do you prefer, or
Well,
both?
if they know what they want, it's always easier. It's always easier when they know what they want. Now, where the challenge that can come in, because some people want something they're not built for. Because they see Ghost and Power, they see how Ghost look in that suit, but you built more like Rerun from what's happening.
I can't.
So I'm
I
like,
can't.
you're not gonna look like Ghost in this suit. Like I can make that suit for you, but you're not gonna look like this. Or I get that
So
move.
how do you handle a situation like that? What do you tell them?
I just shoot
you're not
them.
gonna tell them they rerun. What do you say? Do you
Yeah,
offer them
yeah.
another? You do tell them,
I'm
okay,
gonna shoot it to them straight because I owe it to them.
all right,
Because if I don't tell them and I make what they want and they go outside looking crazy, now they're gonna look at me and go, "Man, William, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Well, why
yeah,
didn't you tell
okay,
me?" They're
yeah,
they're trusting me, so I can't betray that trust. I'd rather you be upset with me and go home and think about it, like, you know what? I'm glad he told me because it may hurt your feelings now, but it's just between me and you. You may make
yeah,
you mad, hurt your feelings, but if I allow you to go outside in public looking bad. Now I've hurt your feeling. I've embarrassed you. I've
yeah,
let you down. I've betrayed that trust. Because it's one thing to upset you. It's another thing to allow you to be embarrassed. If you're seeing someone, if your man upsets you, that's one thing. If he hurts you, that's another.
right, right. I see the difference. I see
So
the difference.
right. So if this person is male or female, and I get it more so with my female clients than my male clients, because a fat dude know he fat. We know. But not all my female clients don't always necessarily know if they're a little more overweight. They don't always know it because especially if they got a big butt or big boobs, whatever. Because dudes hitting on them, they overlooking, this extra we carrying around here because they looking up here and back there. So they getting all this attention. They're not really being realistic with what they really built like.
Okay.
When they come to me and they bring a picture of Scarlett Johansson, and go, I'm built kind of like her. Like, no, sister. The word say the truth will set you free. So I'm about to set you free. Like I can make this suit for you and I can make it look good on you, but you're not gonna look like this.
Yeah, yeah. So you're actually, you're educating them in style. You're educating them on, what looks good on their body, which is what a stylist is. You guys can understand and can see how clothes lay better on a particular person's, shape. And so giving them that information and that education will ultimately help them look better out in the
If they listen, if they
if they
listen.
listen. Hmm.
Some people don't want to listen. Some people, and it's like with anything else. I'm sure you mentor some people say it's gonna take a whole lot of work. Then they go, but that's not what they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear, hey, get your website, do this, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Then they go talk to their friends, like, man, you ain't got to listen to this. Some people want affirmation for the thoughts they've already had.
Mm.
There are people that seek information and people who seek affirmation. If you come to me and want information, I give that to you. You want affirmation, be right.
Mm.
Because I'm just going to tell you the truth. If what I say and what you believe match up, good. If what I say and what you believe don't match up, that's not my issue. You should have went
Right.
to somebody else. I'm not your cheerleader. I'm not your life coach. I'm none of those things. I'm the suit guy. I'm going to tell you what this looks like. I'm going to talk to you about this. But if you want me to tell you it looks good on you and it's not, I'm not going to. Because the worst thing I can do is tell you, yeah, Carmen, you're going to be flying this purple jumpsuit. And you have me make it for you. I'll make it for you. Then you don't really like it. You hang it up in your closet and you never wear it.
Yeah.
But you spent $800, $900, $1,500, whatever for it. Now you mad at me because now you got stuff hanging in your closet that I
That I'm
advise
not
you
even wearing.
that you're not even gonna wear.
Yeah, yeah. So we've seen over the few years the trends with professional athletes in using style as a statement, using style at, for expression, and we are here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have one of the more, or we had one of the more what would I
Out
call
there,
it?
more eclectic.
That's the word I'm looking for. Eclectic,
Mhm.
eclectic, eclectic athlete, which is Cam Newton and his style. As we saw kind of towards the end of his career with the Panthers, we saw that his style started getting more attention than some of his, unfortunately, some of his, play on the field and other things. So what is that about? Because everybody has a way to express themselves, and you saw some people who just didn't like it. And what would you say about that type of situation where an athlete is just, like you said, eclectic and just wants to express himself with style?
Well, I think it all comes out to what is your end goal? Do you want to do what you want to do, or do you want to achieve what you want to achieve?
Hmm.
Because they're not always one and the same. If you want to be, because did you see what he had on when he showed up at Patriots camp? You saw it. I see look on your faces. You saw it. He
Look,
threw up in another romper. I'm like,
look.
Exactly. You know, but that's who he is.
Hmm.
Now,
Right.
his first few years in the league, he had that clothing deal with Belk, so he had to look a certain way, and Jerry Richardson wasn't going for it. Now, once that clothing deal ended, he started doing things more the way he wanted to do it.
Hmm.
And then you pay him $106 million. You locked into him. You signed into a contract that you married to this cat now, because most people aren't going to aren't going to eat that contract because the play doesn't match the contract. So now you kind of stuck with him. So and then you start letting him do what he wants to do. People have to understand, if I play for the Panthers or whatever, I'm an employee. I may be an athlete, but I may be famous and I may be rich and I may have all these accolades. But at the end of the day, I got an employee number. I get a check from somebody.
Hmm.
I don't, like, if William wants the clothing, I write my own checks, but I can't write those checks if people don't buy from me. So
Hmm.
I still have bosses. The only difference, if if you work for a company and they say, okay, Carmen, they call you in the office, they Carmen, we don't need your services. Don't worry about coming back in tomorrow.
Hmm.
I don't know I'm fired until I see somebody wearing a suit I didn't make that I ain't talked to in a while.
Okay.
But so you got to find out, if you want to be respected and seen a certain way by certain people, you got to dress the way they expect you to dress. If you're going to be
So.
treated like a leader and like the face of a franchise, you
Hmm.
need to dress that way. You
Hmm.
want to look like, hey, I can do what I want to do. People let me do what I want to do. You want to have street cred? Cool. You can't buy a house on street cred.
So let me ask you this: do you think it would have been a problem with the way Cam dressed and his style if he was still winning on the field?
To a point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will, because that's going to affect your marketing opportunities,
Hmm.
on those kind of deals. If your brand is strong enough, the rest of it doesn't matter. Drew Brees only won one Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he looks like,
Yeah,
but
that
if
he's won
you're
a
a corporate
couple.
guy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in NASCAR, because NASCAR runs so much about sponsorships. If you got the look and you can speak well and you're an okay driver, people still give you money as a sponsorship. If you want to be the face, you got to look at, because you can make so much money on the field, but when you leave the field, if you got that respect and adoration, Tony Romo, I think won 2 playoff games forever. He just signed a $17 million a year TV deal.
Yeah.
So you can laugh at him all you want to about how he played and all this other stuff. Tony making more money as a talking about football than he did playing
Playing
football.
football. You're right
And he'll
about
do it
that.
for years.
So, what is your prediction with Cam in New England? Do you think that we're going to see a different Cam as far as his style, or how do you think he's going to fare in that system and on the field?
I think he'd be great in that system. Because that system is starting to make quarterbacks look better than they are.
Oh, mm-hmm.
It just
Well, I
is.
think it's going to be a really great experiment, right? To see how that system fares with Cam, and then to see how Tom Brady fares in a new system in Tampa Bay. So I get,
Yeah.
so I feel like this is like a a science experiment because it's going to be like, was it Brady or was it Belichick?
Well,
Was it
I
Brady or
think,
was it Belichick?
yeah, I agree. But I think when you look at the history of it, when's the last time you saw a quarterback in New England that didn't look like he was an all pro?
Mm.
When Tom Brady got hurt, and I can't remember his name now, but
Garoppolo.
no, before him, the dude that he went to Seattle. Yeah, he went to Seattle, lost his job to Russell Wilson his rookie year. But I
Mm,
can't
I
remember
can't.
his
Yeah, I
name.
can't remember his name
But
either.
he looked like a Pro Bowler. He looked like Tom Brady after 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Then Garoppolo, look how good he looked. Bill Belichick has put together a system that's designed for you to fit into it and excel because it takes almost all your thought out of it. Once you
Mm-hmm.
know how the system works, like they don't know about running the ball. They always got the little short white guy that's fast. You got
Yeah.
Amendola, Edelman, all those guys that run across, get 2 or 3 yards, get you 4 or 5 yards, move the ball up the field.
Yeah.
Brady hardly. Brady got hit so seldom that when he finally got hit, they changed the rule for
The
it.
Brady rule, right?
Yeah. So now you got Cam, who's prone to immediately take off if he's
Mm.
and if he feels senses danger. Now he's got time to sit back, and he's not worried about getting lit up all the time. So now he's got some protection, so
Good.
and he'll develop better. And Bill is one of those guys you can't not respect Bill Belichick. He got 6 rings. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Bill says you jump, you just jump because you may land in a room full of rings. So it's easier to buy into that system. If I got Bill Belichick telling me something and Mike Shula telling me something, no disrespect to Mike Shula, but Mike Shula kissed my ass. Bill Belichick got 6 rings. You can tell me something because you've got what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
You made a 6th round draft pick, an instant Pro Bowl, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I'm a much better athlete, a stronger arm, and a #1 overall pick. What can you do for me if you made that out of that? And
Yeah.
I'm bigger, stronger, and faster.
It's gonna be great. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna be with, COVID, but it's gonna
Yeah.
be an interesting season to see how both of those um, what I call experiments work out. Um, you are also a successful entrepreneur in your business. Can you give my listeners and viewers some tips on if there is a person out there who's listening and they're wanting to start a particular business? You know, I talk about mindset all the time, having the correct mindset for whatever it is you want to do. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the entrepreneurial mindset and give us like 3 things that are key to having an entrepreneurial mindset that will help someone to be more successful.
Okay. Well, I think this will work even if you're not an entrepreneur. I just think in life this works for you. I'll give you 4. 3 if you're not religious, 4 if you are. One, I think it's paramount to have a relationship with God. Because when you're trying to build something, a lot of people aren't going to understand your vision.
Yeah.
You can explain it to them, they're not going to understand it. They're just going to be lost. And you're going to make sacrifices that some people don't understand. There can be some times where you're like, Lord, I'm doing everything right. Why isn't anything working?
Yeah.
And it's just you and God.
Mm-hmm.
To be in a relationship with God. 2, learn the rules for yourself. If if I'm depending on you to tell me what the rules are, if we're competing against each other, You're only going to tell me enough to not get me fired, but you're not going to tell me everything
Right.
because you don't want me to surpass you. But if I learn for myself, I know what I can do, what I can't do, and I can move better. Michael Jordan wore a little nut hugger shorts when he first got in the NBA. Once he established who he was and got respect and credibility in the game, then he started wearing the baggiest shorts and the wristband up here.
Mm-hmm.
Established who Michael Jordan was. He just walk in and go, well, I'm gonna wear these kind of shorts, I'm gonna do this, and all this kind of stuff. And Mike was so good. Remember, Mike got fined $5,000 every game his rookie year, but Nike paid that fine every game
Mm-hmm.
because Nike expected to make maybe $3 or $4 million off Mike that first year, or during the course of that contract. They made $140 million the first year. They didn't mind paying the $5,000 because he established who he was.
Yeah.
So know the rules for yourself. Number three, don't get caught up in color. And especially now, like now it's a little better because people are actually more aware of race and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, and you grew up in the South,
Yeah.
I know somebody in your life has told you the white man don't care about you, white folks don't care nothing about you, whatever it may be, look out for your own, whatever it may be. I've learned that a person can hate your guts, but if you can make them money, they will still hire you
Mm.
and they will promote you. They might invite you to their house for dinner. You may not play golf with them. Y'all may not go have cocktails after work. But if you can make them wealthy, they will make you rich. So don't get caught up on color. The only colors that matter in the real world, green, white, and gray. That's it. And fourth, and probably the most important to me, well, other than relationship with God, broke people give broke advice.
Oh,
And I don't mean it broke necessarily from a fiduciary financial situation,
right.
but mentally broken.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to defeatist people or broken-minded people, a broken mind can only think broken thoughts. Broken
Talk
thoughts
about it.
can only produce broken words and
Mm-hmm.
broken actions.
There, yes.
So when you get ready to do something, a big move you want to make, a broken person will tell you, you know how hard that is? I wouldn't try that. You got this good job here. Sit here and do this. Don't worry about this. No, that's too big. It's gonna be too hard to do it. A successful person is gonna go, okay, what's your plan?
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna listen to your plan. They say, okay, I see where you're going with this. And I like the idea, but you may want to make some changes here because of this, this, this. They'll help you smooth out your plan and tell you to go for it. The broken-minded person, and they may not necessarily be trying to hate on you.
It's just what they know.
Yeah,
It's just what they know.
Yeah, all they know is fear, failure, heartache. They have no kind of support system on the other side, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's who they are. So that's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. It's very important when you are seeking a mentor or you're seeking advice to really make sure that the person that you're seeking it from, that they are exuding those qualities and those things that you wish to see and those things that you wish to be, because that tells you that they have, like you said, they have the thoughts that create the emotions, that creates the actions, and that all comes from having a particular mindset. So
Yeah.
you want to be very, very, careful and very intentional about who you receive your advice from. No,
Yeah,
that's good. That's real
exactly.
good.
And people need to understand entrepreneurship's a lifestyle.
Hmm.
It's not a job, it's a lifestyle. You got to think, as an entrepreneur, you have to think differently. Before I go somewhere, I have to ask myself, how does this affect my business? How will it affect my brand? Like people know me, they know I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble, I don't go to strip club. I never been to strip club or drank or had alcohol in that in my life.
Hmm.
Now I'm a grown man. I can go where I want to go. But if I sit and tell an audience of 5,000 people I don't go to strip clubs, and then you see me walking out of Magic Mike's, or I guess it wouldn't be Magic Mike's, that's a different type of strip club. But
Yeah, that's a good one.
whatever, you know, cheetah, and you see me walking out of cheetah or something, you're like, wait, I thought you didn't drink. Now, I mean, I thought you go to strip club. Now, I could have been walking over there dropping off a suit to a customer in the lobby and never went inside. But the perception is now that, okay, he said he don't do this, but he does. So you got to
Yeah.
figure out those kind of things.
Perception is reality.
It is. And now
Yeah.
suddenly you're a liar.
Hmm.
Somebody you didn't even know 5 minutes earlier, walking to you, man, I've been following you on social media forever, man. I've been telling my children about you using role model. You just a liar. I don't even care that you go to strip clubs, but why lie and say you don't? I'm like, I was just dropping off. And even
Yeah.
though I'm telling the truth, it looked
Yeah.
like a lie.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason I brought that up, I had a customer one time. He was like, hey, we was up at Uptown Cabaret. He's like, just come drop it off. I said, I don't go to strip clubs. I said, I'll meet you across the street. I have my suit in the car. Why don't you just come? I said, 'cause I'm not coming in. I said, I can either wait till you get a chance to come to my shop, or I can meet you outside and come do it. But I'm not coming inside.
Yeah.
Those types of things. You have to think about how those things affect your brand. If you're in a supermarket and somebody just comes at you just all kind of wrong, and your gut tell you, I'm gonna let you know everything I'm feeling right now. But then you have to think to yourself, you know what? I can't, because somebody may be watching watching this podcast right now.
Right.
They've been watching your stuff and been following you over the years, and they see Carmen Cousin like, man, I like Carmen. She's just so poised. She's so classy. She's so this. And then all of a sudden you're like, girl, let me tell you something. What you not going? You just going off.
Hey, I mean, that's Carmen too, though.
It
Okay,
may
let's keep
be.
it real.
It may be, but Carmen want to build her podcast and build this brand, can't be that Carmen anymore.
Eh,
She may want to be, but the thing is, you got to ask yourself again. It's like Cam with the clothes. That may be Cam, but is that really going to benefit where you're trying to go? And that's where we talk about mindset. Just because you can do something, don't
doesn't
mean
mean
you
you
should do
should.
it.
That I agree with.
You know,
Absolutely.
I can take my
Absolutely.
baseball bat and go bust my TV, but because it's mine, I got every right to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't try to play victim after the fact, because now I got to go buy a new TV.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all this, I got to learn a new TV and all this stuff because of my actions.
Got to learn a TV. What kind of TVs you got that you got to learn?
You know how crazy some of these TVs are, these smart TVs, and I got to hook it up to my Alexa, and I got to do all this other stuff. And like I don't really touch a lot of stuff in my house. I don't like to touch the lights. So all my lights are voice controlled, and
Okay.
my stuff set up to where I can just, I like gadgets. I'm your
Yeah.
basic dude. So I
Yeah.
like gadgets, and electronics, and
Yeah.
speaker stuff. That really,
Automation. No, I like it too. It's all
yeah.
cool. It's,
It's
it's, it's
somebody
getting
you
out there too.
Yeah, it's something about when you just sitting on your couch like, man, I forgot to turn the light off. You say, Alexa, turn off bedroom. The lights just go off. You ain't got comfortable on the couch, and you just don't want to move.
That's what I got kids for. That's what I got kids for.
Yeah, but kids cost a lot
Not-
more than Alexa.
Now, you're right about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, sorry, Zoe, come turn off the light for me.
Yeah, so you do that. In my building, we get free internet. We got free Google Fiber in my building. So all I got to do is buy me a $40 Alexa, and I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm good forever.
Forever. So I want to finish up, and I want to talk about your advocacy.
Mhm.
You are a staunch advocate for against domestic violence, and in 2020, you announced the William Wilson Domestic Violence Scholarship. Tell me a little bit more about that and why you are an advocate.
Well, my mom's a domestic violence survivor. So, when I grew up seeing her in situations that as a kid, I couldn't do anything about. Because one, I was a kid, plus I was small. Like I grew 4 inches and 90 pounds after I turned 25. Like when I
Wow.
graduated high school, I was 5'7", weighed 129 pounds when I graduated high school.
Huh.
So, but she's divorced, remarried now, so her situation is better. But I always say when I get older, I'll make sure I want to make sure my mom has somebody in her life she can be proud of. That's always been my goal. It's not about the money and accolades and all that stuff. That's nice, but that's not my goal. But that's not what motivated me. So, doing that, and I always wanted to just give. I remember you used to sell like the candy bars for $1 and all that stuff,
Yeah.
the fundraisers, and I would see people like, man, if I had it, I'd give it to you. And they got $1. So I always say, you know what? But if I get old enough, as long as I got money, I'm gonna give to everybody I can.
Mm-hmm.
So if a little kid comes to buy something, I buy $400 a year worth of Girl Scout cookies. I've eaten maybe 3 boxes of Girl Scout cookies in 10 years. I don't buy them. I buy them and just give them away to other people that like Girl Scout cookies and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just want to support and help everybody I can. Domestic violence is really close to me again because growing up, I know what it's like to feel powerless like that.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what it's like to have been my mom or another female in an abusive situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fortunately for her, she had her own job, she made her own money, that type of deal. So she wasn't trapped so much in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But like where we live, there wasn't any like domestic violence. There were no shelters to go to, those kind of deals. So you just had to deal with it. And imagine if you're doing like this and you can't make a source of income, you're stuck in this situation, you don't have, or you went to college, but it was 15 years ago, your whole skill set is outdated now.
Right.
So this is set up to design, I partnered with CPCC. So it's not designed for like a 2 or 4 year matriculating program.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed for like sort of like 30-day to 4-month programs where you can get certification as a paralegal or a personal trainer or get some kind of computer certification, things that can make you either give you an option of starting a business on your own,
Mm-hmm.
or give you some kind of certifications and stuff that can make you marketable.
Right.
Because I believe you get education and you get yourself some kind of financial freedom, you can get out of your situation. It makes it
Yes.
better to change that cycle.
That's right. That's right. That's amazing. You know, all women issues, empowerment, equality, that's near and dear to my heart. And to have, and I always say that just like it is with us in our racial, racism fight, for racism, we need our white allies, in the fight. And just like with women and our rights and equality, we need men, supporting us in our fight for equality. So thank you. Thank
Right.
you for making that a part of your platform and for caring so much about those who suffer from domestic violence.
Well, somebody's got. I've always in the logo, if you will, or a slogan or mantra for the foundation is we fight for the people who cry in the dark.
Hmm. Yes.
Because a lot of women have to put, especially and men get abused too. So I'm
Yes,
not
they
going to leave
do.
it out.
That's right.
But a lot of times, the women they got to go to work the next day or do whatever. They got to put on a strong face and
Yeah.
just like look like everything's okay. So they don't get the sympathy or don't get whatever because people don't know they suffer alone. They have to cry in the dark. And it may not even be physical abuse. It may be verbal abuse.
Right.
And
Mental,
just
emotional. Hmm.
exactly. And you know, physical scars can heal. Emotional scars can take years,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
ever. Like I
Hmm.
know, like I still struggle to get close to people. I struggle to let people close to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do. And I know a lot of that has to do with that.
Yeah. What you
And
saw.
I'm 50 years old. I mean, I'm a full grown man
Yeah.
that has done all these accomplishments, but I still those some of those basic characteristics that people have with interaction is just so scary to me that it's
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so those emotional things, so we can do things to kind of break those cycles, and change the directions of people's lives. Who knows how many lives that we can change over generations?
That's right. That's right. 2020 has been a wild year for most of us. So, what are you doing? Right? Understatement.
Woo, boy, 2020. Woo.
What are you doing to keep yourself in good spirits and to, rest and take care of yourself?
Well, one, I'm always thankful that I'm here. You know, just from COVID alone, 125,000 people ain't here anymore.
Yeah.
Just from COVID. Plus, just regular, all the other stuff that's been killing people for years. I'm thankful God still got me here. So every day that the sun rises and I can see the grass and not the roots is a good day.
Yeah.
But on top of it, I just try to keep myself busy. Like I've learned to trade, I've been learning to trade Forex, for trading currencies
Okay.
and things like this in the foreign exchange market. Because again, that's something, learn how to do it. It's another skill. I can make money from my phone anywhere in the world that
Hmm.
I have an internet connection. So I can make, two, three, 400, $500,000 in a day sitting at my phone, chilling. And that's a skill I'll be able to do for the rest of my life, even if my body gets too frail to go play golf or something like this, or
Yeah.
those types of, or they just shut the whole world down. We can't travel, we can't talk, we can't meet, we can't nothing. I can still make money at the house.
Yeah.
So just learning that, and I started my podcast. Just like you started your podcast. So
Yes.
doing this, I'm just taking advantage. My schedule typically is so hectic and so busy that it's hard for me to book the simplest of things. I have people I haven't had lunch with in years. We've been trying to have, like literally years. We've been trying to have lunch, and I'm really picky with my time anyway. So some people, they can call me and say, "Hey, let's grab lunch," and we can be at lunch that same week. Some people, it may still be some months,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to take time to just really just do all the things that I didn't have time. Like with Forex, I wanted to learn how to trade Forex for a long time. I just
Yeah.
didn't have the time to learn a new skill. And this takes so much time and so much practice
Yeah.
and learning. I didn't have it. So this has allowed me the time to do that. And, catching up with friends, starting new stuff and still just being William Wilson, just trying dumb stuff. And if it works, cool. If it doesn't,
Try again.
it's worked for me so far. So why
Yeah.
stop?
So, tell my listeners and viewers where they can find you, find more information about you and your different social media platforms.
Probably the easiest way to go to williamwilsonclothing.com because you click on the icon can take you to my stuff. But most of my social media, it's not my hander. My handle is the Clothier, TheClothier. Um, and that's my Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those. But if you go to williamwilsonclothing.com, you can pretty much find me most of the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, this was great. I definitely look forward to having you back on for future episodes. You and I, we have a lot of great things that we enjoy and we can talk about. I know
Mhm,
we enjoy politics, we enjoy sports. And
mhm.
so definitely, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. And just so that people know, William is someone for me. I call him a Renaissance man because he because he is he's always looking to learn, looking to grow, and looking to make things better for not only himself and but for others. And so that to me is what I consider to be a Renaissance man. And I had reached out to William probably maybe a year ago. I don't even know how long it was, but we're just telling him about some things I wanted to do with my brand and how I wanted to grow it. And, he just, and like you said about telling people direct and real, that's exactly what he did it with me. He was like, you need to be doing video. And I'm like, I don't want to do video. No, no, no. He was like, you need to be doing video. And I was like,
Mhm.
ah, man, I'm just not ready. And he's like, you are, you're ready. And
Mhm.
it took me a little bit, but I'm here.
Yeah.
But I would say that you definitely were, instrumental in helping me get to that place with video and being comfortable with it and just, continuing to tell me why it was important. So I thank you for that. I thank you
No,
for that.
my pleasure. But the thing is, but you were willing to listen. And you know this. A lot of people tell you they want to do something, but some people just want you to hear them say they want to do something.
Hmm.
You actually serious about it. You start doing Instagram stories. You start putting stuff out there, and you find that once you put yourself out there, you're not as alone as you think you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
if you never put yourself out there, you never know that you're not alone. So then you put yourself out there, you start hearing people like, man, I went through that same thing. I had that same story. Like, wow, I thought it was just me. And that just changes everything.
It
Once you
really
say you're not
does.
alone, it's empowering. So
It
now you
really
feel like you're
is.
part of something bigger than you.
Absolutely, it really is. So yeah, so thank you for that, and thank you for your time today. So I definitely look forward to us catching up again on the show, and
Mhm.
continue to do great things and keep me updated on I guess whenever we are able to go back out and play golf. I know you have you were trying to get your golf tournament back up, right?
Yep. We're hoping to do it beginning of October.
Okay, beginning of October. Awesome. Well, then I would
Mhm.
love to have you back on before then to talk more about that.
Absolutely. Plus, we got to do the interview in the closet too.
That's right. We got the in the closet
Yeah.
interview, the coming out
Interview
of
in the closet.
the interview in the closet.
The interview in my closet.
The coming out of the closet interview in the closet. I
Yeah, we
got you.
do an interview in the closet because I'm a straight man. Nothing against whatever you went to. I'm a LGBTQAI plus ally.
Yes.
So I'm not judging anybody. I just want people to understand I am a straight male, but I just have a
Yes.
big closet. We're gonna do an interview from the closet. It's gonna be a
That's
cool
right.
picture.
Yes, we're
With
going to do an
the-
interview in the closet so we get to see all of his fly suits and all of his wonderful clothing. So, definitely looking forward to that. Well, thank you, William. Enjoy this wonderful, beautiful day and look forward to talking to you soon.
Sounds like a winner.
All right.